New Dominus Spark to join the Dominus family. I'm waiting for there to be Dominus monsters, right? I think that's inevitably going to be created soon. They got the art, they got the overframe already ready. This is quite interesting. All the Dominus cards are about locking you out of a monster attribute for the rest of the duel if you activate from the hand. The Impulse being the most powerful card here, as it locks you out from Light, Earth, Wind, and then you Purge. So the Impulse stops the special summon, Purge stops searching the deck, but is not as good as an Ash Blossom, as Ash also stops them special summoning from the deck. So in a way, Ash Blossom could be better than both of these, as they're both trying to accomplish the same thing a single Ash could do. This locks you out of Dark, Water, and Fire. And then you got the Overframe here, and then we also conjoin them with the Song of the Dominators, which is crazy when this actually works, because this can add a Dominus card from your deck to your hand if you have a trap card in your graveyard after the opponent activates a monster effect in the field and you negate the effect. Now, this works different than impermanence. Let's say if they have a Lone Fire Blossom, they activate, they jump off the field to activate, you can't impermanent, you have to impermanent preemptively, but the Song of the Dominators, even though the Lone Fire is nowhere to be seen on the field, it will still negate it because it activated on the field. And I know this well because this hard counters Sky Striker. The Sky Striker Link 2, that is quite nasty. So I do want to think about, we activate this and then we search for the new Dominus cards. The new Dominus card going to be good. What could it do if we're already disallowing Dark, Water, Fire, Light, Earth, Wind? What the heck is this? You can only activate one card with this names once per turn. I do also want to, not to beat a dead horse here, but I think this card was a mistake. This is too powerful. I don't like this existing. This helped make Malice a lot more powerful than it should be. It is semi-limited in OCG. I think it will be restricted in Master Duel one day. So I would think the correct thing to do is to make this not as good or more restrictive, but it could be better, but it has to be more restrictive. I don't want to see these cards being used in top tier decks, which I do think they did a good job with Song of the Dominators, because it says you are not able to activate monsters in the hand, graveyard, or banishment until the end of the next turn after activating this from your hand. So heavy restriction. Let's see. Activate this once per turn. During the turn your opponent activated a monster effect in the hand or graveyard, you can activate this card from your hand. The turn your opponent activated a monster effect in the hand or graveyard, you could activate this card from your hand. So it could be on the same freaking chain of them activating a monster on the hand or graveyard. This is, I think, the exact wording of the Canine cards, right? Yes, exact wording of the Canine cards. During the main phase, if your opponent activated a monster effect in the hand or graveyard this turn, you then get to pop off with your Furry. Now, what is this doing? Target one monster your opponent controls, banish it. This, without reading the rest, like, damn. That's crazy. I know a lot of you are sick of me talking about Triple D, but like, I mean, all Triple D players are building towards making a Solomon, and this Solomon searches and Foolish Burials. It's crazy value, but it's a spell speed 1. If I summon this and you've just banished it off the field and it's my turn 1, I think I'm scooping. What the heck? Like, that deletes the deck. No way, I can't overlay, I can't Foolish, I can't search, and I put 2 bodies into this? That's insane. So there has to be something crazier than, and oh, well, you had to have activated a monster from the hand or in the graveyard. I probably did if I'm not playing around Canine initially. There's a lot of the effects activate from the hand and graveyard to then turn this on to banish away my card, and I scoop to, this is a scooper. I'm scooping to this. Then, if you have no traps in your graveyard, I could do something because you have no traps in your grave. I could special summon one monster from my hand. That's not good enough. You banished my Solomon. No, I'm still surrendering. What? If you activate this from the hand, you cannot activate, oh boy, this is a lot of them. You can't activate Earth, Water, Fire, and Wind for the rest of the duel. As long, now, generally, the Light and Dark decks, historically through Yu-Gi-Oh! And gachas, right? Light and Dark is more powerful than the other elements. So is it that big of a deal if we just put this in a Light and Dark deck? So, you know, two things you gotta think. Are we putting this in a trap-only deck? Because that's kind of what Song of the Dominators is. Song of the Dominators is not used in regular decks. Impulse and Purge is. Am I using this in a regular deck? I think so. This is nothing. Special summon from their hand. What? Special summon Ash Blossom from the hand. Banish a high link. Link 2, Link 3, a commitment to an Xyz, banish a detonator off the fields. We're not talking just negate the Ryzeal Duo Drive. I'm banishing it off the freaking fields. If you, now, you have to have activated from the hand or graveyard, which a lot of the Ryzeals don't activate in the hand or grave, but the ice does. And you normally don't do that with this, so I guess that is quite restrictive, but you know, in a lot of ways, this is a game winner. It's very difficult to say. This may be too meta dependent to say that every deck would be playing this. Light or dark decks right now. Who's light or dark? Do we put this in our Malice deck? Straight up, it's in Malice. Draco Tail is making their plays, and we are Malice. They had to have activated Femina from the hand. They activate any of their Draco Tails in the graveyard. Are we banishing a good monster on the field? There actually isn't really a good banish against Draco Tail. I mean, you know, if they're opening up a Cartesia or Malulu, I probably would want to banish them, but that means they likely didn't already activate something in the hand or graveyard to even make my card activatable. Interesting. Interesting. So against some decks, it can completely blow them out. So this comes along the lines of, is this another side deck card or what? It's really difficult to say. I don't think this really should even be considered that they get the special summon from the hand. Just, you have to think, is the prevalent decks activating a monster from the hand or graveyard, creating a very important monster that if I banish it, it completely ends their turn, possibly ending the duel? That's the big question. And you can only put this in a light and dark deck. Let's see what they're saying. Babe, wake up, another Dominus hand trap. So that's the whole set, I'd guess, until maybe we get the monsters with it, right? Someone says, and the lights. Why is this one just free for dark decks again? The only part that's not free is that it's a brick if the opponent is just not activating anything from the hand or graveyard. But what modern deck is not activating from the hand or grave? I mean, let's look at the tier list. We have the trap, and we have to wait for a monster to activate in the hand or grave. Against Draco Tail, they're doing it. Malice in hand, they could activate the backup Ignister, they could activate the March Hare, then we're activatable. Against Yummy, these don't activate in the hand, but this does. I guess they activate this, and then you now would be able to get ready to banish something. What are we banishing? If you wait for this right out because the other Yummies are jumping off the field like crazy, or at least go even with the Herald of Arc Light, possibly. That's interesting. And it's banishing it. Now, if the Herald of Arc Light doesn't want to get banished and they have a way to recycle the Herald of Arc Light back with the Sorrow Cat, they'll probably just try to negate it instead. Interesting. What other top tier decks? So at least Yummy, there is a way to use it against them. Ryzeal's gonna not be so good. Pretty much Ice Ryzeal is the only one that activates from the hand if you're using that part of the effect. Where is that? Wait, no, I was incorrectly saying Ice Ryzeal activates from the hand to special summon. It doesn't. It doesn't. Actually freaking doesn't. None of the Ryzeals activate from the hand. Not even that secondary effect of summoning from the hand. So this is just dead against Ryzeal. So scratch what I said earlier. The Mitsurugi will be activating from the hand and graveyard, obviously. The Murakumo, the Habakiri activates from the hand. The Saji will be activating in the graveyard after it gets tributed. So we'll be banishing away the Murakumo at an ideal moment to deny them the prayers, but then they could try to recycle back with Kusanagi, but that's gonna be quite annoying. So in a Mitsurugi meta, I'm main decking this. Yeah, I think so. I think if we were to play this in the current meta, this will be live enough and impactful enough to be winning duels. Sometimes you gotta think, will this card piss off my opponent? Yes, my opponent will be big mad from using this card. And if that's the case, this has to be good, right? Yeah, oh boy. I read this as you can special summon from the hand, almost flipped out. Compared to Spiral, that returns 1 monster to the hand extra with punishment, summon for the graveyard. This one is banished with summon from the hand with 4 attribute restriction. What are we trying to say here? Looks like Lovely has a new play toy to play with. Labyrinth can main deck. Labyrinth could just set this from the deck, and then you don't have the downside restriction if you activate this from the hand. Not that that's really a big deal because you're Labyrinth, but you don't have this restriction because you're just setting on the field. You don't have to wait for the. Wow. So people are asking, Decade, is there any future support for Labyrinth? Dominus Spark. Wow. Yup. This definitely big boost to Labyrinth. At minimum, this is insane for Labyrinth. Higher than minimum, all the light and dark decks are using this in a meta where similarly something like Mitsurugi is playable, where they're consistently making this activatable from the hand, and then they have a good monster to banish. So very powerful card and quite scary. What is Konami doing? All the new good hand traps are being sectioned off into only this type of deck could use it. Only this deck could use it. We just saw a synchro hand trap that I think every synchro deck, it has to be a synchro only deck though, that is also incredibly powerful. So this is something. I know my take on hand traps can be confusing, but I think hand traps are a problem in Yu-Gi-Oh!, but they also need to be more powerful. How does that make sense? I think the biggest issue with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going second is not fun, it's not enjoyable. If Konami looks at their analytics, and I know this will be a bad thing to hear, their analytics will show them that every time a player goes second and they don't open up Max C, they are very likely to surrender the duel. If they go second and have Max C, they play out the duel. So while that's a bad thing to look at, right? If you strictly look at the analytics, that thing's to Konami, they go, oh, Maxi good. People stay in the duel because Maxi activated or in the hand, they stay in the duel. They don't have it, they surrender. So we will never restrict that card further than the semi-limit. Whoops, that's not good. So that's a huge Band-Aid fix on your limb being cut off, where I think cards like this, if it's restrictive enough, the synchro only hand trap. So I want hand traps that are good enough to make go second better, but I don't want them to be in very powerful top tier decks. So for example, Impulse, very powerful, but not good for the game because top tier decks like Mouse could play it. The synchro hand trap, very powerful. It gets rid of a monster on the field, but only synchro only decks could use it. I think that's a good thing. That could be good as long as there isn't a synchro only super top tier most prevalent deck. It's giving a regular Joe Schmo, usually a crappy synchro only deck, a fighting chance against other top tier decks. So for equalizing the lower tier decks and just decks overall having a better go second chance, that's good. We just don't want the top tier 1 to be dominating with this. Now, this may be a mistake though. This card straight up. Ideally, it's just a big boost to something like Labyrinth and being used in the side deck, but if top tier most prevalent are main deck in 3 of this, then whoopsie, Konami made an oopsie doopsie, I think so. Lovely, let's see. All right, there you go, that's all I have to say about the card. And all right, this could be a good thing, going second, maybe getting better, but also of the downside of this top tier deck, it's a powerful card, but my deck can't use it, that's not fair. What the heck, Konami? What are you doing?